So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Senator Jamie Eldridge, proud to be hosting Uplifting Voices for the past now year and a half since the pandemic began, and really an opportunity to hear from leaders on racial injustice issues, people that are active in many of the communities that I represent, and are leaders at the state level as well. And very honored today to have someone who's become a good friend and someone I admire greatly, Rabbi Mike Rothbaum, the rabbi for Congregation Beth Elohim. And Rabbi Mike, thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to have you, and great to see you, even if virtually. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I'm just I feel a little pressure because it's uplifting voices. That means I have to be uplifting while we talk about racial and injustice and anti-Semitism. I mean, that's might not be uplifting.
That's right. Well, you're lifting up, but we're coming from a lower place, so it's okay.
Okay. All right. So in other words, if you start low enough, everything's uplifting. Yeah, it's all right. I get it. I get it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to say now, it's we're no longer in the Trump era. We have the Biden Harris administration. So, we're once again back to the Obama era where there's no more racism, no more
Yeah.
anti-Semitism, no more hate.
Whew.
So how does that feel?
Boy, that was close, right? We had those 4 years of racism and xenophobia, homophobia, and now everything's better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure the Haitian folks who are whipped by the guys on horseback at the border think that things are much better. Yeah, yeah. This is not. This is a problem for us as progressives, if I can call us that. Can I call us that? Are you a progressive?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And obviously we're being very sarcastic here, but we're here in Massachusetts, and you are the rabbi for a region that many people in Massachusetts see as very liberal and very
Yeah.
progressive, and yet during your time at Congregation Beth Elohim, and certainly in my time as a legislator and growing up in Acton and going through the Acton box for schools, have absolutely seen you know racism and anti-Semitism, both intentional, direct, and systemic. And you know how are you feeling about things, and how are things going in the community?
Yeah. Well, so first of all, yes, that was sarcasm. I use sarcasm. We use humor sometimes as a defense mechanism. The Jewish people have a long history of that, from our history of being exiled from our homeland and uh, suffering pogrom and Inquisition and Holocaust. So of course,
Mm-hmm.
there's a history of like, well, okay, how are we going to get through this? We have lament, we have sadness, we have song, we have creativity, and we have humor, right? I mean, I think so much of the best Jewish humor comes out of pain and out of the feeling of being other, of being outside, of being different, right? So how do you deal with that? And it's super tricky, right? Because Jews are a teeny tiny minority in the world. There are about 13 million Jews in the entire world, which I think is, that's like the number of Patriots season ticket holders. I mean, it's like is nothing, right? There's what 7 billion, 8 billion people.
Yep.
So it's a tiny fraction. It's like 2/10 of, I don't know. There's a lot of good math people who could tell us exactly what the percentage is, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's about 6, 7 million Jews in the United States, which is also even, it's about half the Jews in the world roughly are in the United States, but still compared to 330 million, it's still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2% or something, right? Um,
Yeah, and very small in Acton and Boxborough. I mean, it's
yeah.
more sizable than other Metro West communities, but it's quite small even in Acton and Boxborough. Yep.
Yeah, and the tricky part is, of course, is that we talk about racism and racial injustice and xenophobia and so forth. The Jews for those of now, there are Jews of color. There are Jews from, there's black
Mhm.
Jews, brown Jews, Asian Jews. Um, there are Middle Eastern Jews, Mizrahi Jews from Morocco, Yemen, and so forth. Right.
Mhm.
Vast majority of Jews in the United States are Ashkenazi Jews. It's a phrase you hear often in the Jewish world. Eastern Europe, right?
Mhm.
Romania, Poland, Russia. Um, I have a picture of my great aunt in a factory, with Yiddish on the. I could show it to you,
Mhm.
right? So, are we white?
Mhm.
Seems kind of white, right? Eastern Europe is still Europe, right? Um, so we get white privilege in the United States, right? Whereas the United States was built on an oppression of and an obsession with black bodies, right, and blackness being the thing that both ran the economy and terrified
Mhm.
everybody, right?
Mhm.
So we're the American story is simultaneously being um, frightened, exploitative, and obsessed with the black body, right? Black people,
Mhm.
right? So in Europe, it's the Jew who fills that role, yeah.
Mhm.
And so we still carry that not only memory, but then the European American mindset still, it's not the same here for Jews as it was the most catastrophically during the Holocaust, right? But there's still those mindsets, right? So even
Mhm.
though in Massachusetts, the country clubs and the workforces, the workplaces rather, and the law firms now are no longer Jewish exclusive. It wasn't
Sure.
that long ago, right? It was the '70s, right? Maybe where that changed.
Mhm.
Still the feelings, and there's still the anti-Semitic attacks and the swastikas and the
Yep.
"you killed Jesus" and the kids at our local high school have money thrown at them in front
Yep.
of in a classroom in front of a teacher and are told to pick it up, you effing Jew, right? That happened last year. Um,
Yeah. And I
so
would add that when I went to Acton Boxborough, I saw some of my classmates do the same, as throw pennies in the floor, in front of Jewish students. Absolutely. Yep.
yep. And look, you and I have talked about it. We love our schools. We want to protect their reputation on the one hand, um, but does the reputation of our local schools in our town come at the expense of valuing our Jewish kids? Does it come at the expense of the safety of our Jewish kids? And also what we've heard from our black kids and our brown students, our Brazilian kids, that uh, they don't feel valued. They don't feel that they're treated as, I just found out from, uh, I don't know if I should use their name, but somebody that you and I both know who's brilliant, who has brilliant kids, and had her daughter was told in a classroom, like in an honors classroom, uh, this is a Ghanaian student, well,
Mm.
mom. The, the,
Mhm.
the kid was asked, "Are you in the right classroom?" By the teacher. You
Yeah.
sure? You sure you're in the right room? And
Yep.
you know, so we're going to say that uh, black kids don't belong in that room, right? That's the message that we send. Um, is that a policy thing? Is that something we have to talk about having a policy? Do we need training? I don't know. We got to do
Mhm.
something, but I think we've got to be honest about it. That's the
Yeah.
only way we get there, is to be honest about these things, and that's scary. It's scary for
Yep.
white folks. It's been scary for Christendom in the past. Um,
Mhm.
uh, but we got to be if we really care, we have to say my discomfort and my fear of this conversation is not so important that I'm willing to let other folks suffer. My safety from and my protection is not,
Mhm.
that can't be that wins out, because it means actual human lives are at stake, right? Okay, so I'll stop
Yep.
talking there.
No, no, not at
Where,
all.
where are you? Where are you in? Are you? Can I ask you if you're in a hotel? Where is that?
At the beginning of the pandemic, I should have fixed up my apartment, but I'm still working from home, and I need need some decorating help. So
You need a picture. They sell them. You can go to like Home Goods. It's like it's something right on the wall, Senator.
mhm.
You need a gay Jewish rabbi to help you. Maybe we have a little bit of style sense. My husband has more of the style sense, but for a small fee, you could
I would welcome that. Thank you.
maybe a coat of paint. It wouldn't kill you. You know what? You're working so hard on behalf of the people. Who has time for
That's
interior? That's what it is. All right.
That's a lot of it. Yep. That's a
Stop
lot of it.
us.
Yep.
No, sorry.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that there has been a sincere attempt to have some honesty since the murder of George Floyd, and you have the diversity, equity, inclusion committees, you have continued rallies, you have just the beginnings of reform, at the state level with, police reform and accountability around police brutality. The legislature is at least talking about, looking at every policy through a racial equity lens.
They're good at talking. About it.
I know, but the reality is, now a year later, there really hasn't been that much that's changed. So
that's right. I mean, let's talk about the rallies after George Floyd and a recognition that things, boy, this has got to change. But let's start with, first of all, that's what it took for white people to recognize. It took a video of 9.5 or whatever it was minutes of this guy being slowly murdered. Right. It took Philando Castile, and it takes a Trayvon Martin, and it's like, well, how many black people have to die before white people pay attention? How much black blood do you need to see before you see and recognize that black people are real? Right. Like that they're actually human beings. Right. It shouldn't take that. But OK, so fine. George Floyd, 9.5 minutes. We see the video. Here's what's great. Right, here's where we're in a good place. The Black Lives Matter signs became more obvious, and the rallies that happened. And here in Kelly's Corner, which for people that don't know, it's it's where the the burrito place and the gas station is. And who was there? Kids were there, right? When I was a kid, we started an Amnesty International group. That was like my first kind of activist thing. And it was all the goofy, nerdy kids, writing letters for political prisoners, right? This was like hundreds of kids.
Sure.
And I could tell it was the cool kids, like it wasn't just the nerding and, we got to do something about humor, right? It was like, you could see it was like the kids who were the football team and the cheerleader. You could see it, right? With the nice cars driving through with the Black Lives Matter, white silence is violence. It was like, okay, so they got it. Right, I don't know about the parents, but some of the parents I think got it too. Okay, then what? Right after the rallies stop, do we still have the commitment? Right, the national bill I think just died. Right, and
it looks like it. Yeah.
I mean, how is that possible? Right. So. That's where I think, from my point of view, that's where religious people have to step in and say, we got to keep talking about this. We have texts that say, don't steal, right? That's in God's top 10 list. Like stealing is bad. So stolen labor is also bad. Stealing generations of black labor is bad. Our texts say, our Jewish texts say, and the Christian texts say, too, all human beings created in God's image, but B'Tselem Elohim, we say in Hebrew, right? That's not just Jews, it's not just men, it's not just white people, it's not just Republicans or even democratic socialists, it's everybody's created in God's image, right?
Yep.
And if you're not treating everybody as an image of the divine, something is broken. And of course, we later have a text, the Exodus, which says, the way things are is not the way that they have to be. That even the lowest rung of the social hierarchy, Hebrew slaves in the massive empire that is Egypt.
Hmm.
Um, through the power of faith and the power of community and the power of belief, they march into freedom.
Hmm.
And that is the most religious thing that I could imagine, is that these people who are treated as nothing by society are willing to step into the water, and the water parts. We're taught in our Jewish texts that the water doesn't part until there's a guy named Nachshon. He goes up to his nose. Yeah,
Hmm.
they have to go forward. It's that dedication to them, to the cause, and their belief in themselves as divine and as sacred. Um, that's amazing, and that
Hmm.
creates change. That's the most holy thing that we could do. So even whether it's popular or not, religious people have to do that, and the Jews, of course, we know from being treated like we're subhuman.
From the history of oppression,
Yeah,
and you talked a bit about some of the Jewish tenets, but I mean, for you,
yeah.
and I know a lot of religious leaders, but and I'm not exaggerating, is that when I think of religious leaders, I can't think of anyone more in this region that is better connecting your religious values or beliefs or being a leader for a religious institution and turning that into social action, whether I see you at the State House on immigration reform or at the rallies in Acton and Boxborough, to your sermons and connecting it to other issues like climate change. Why is that the case? How did you come to have these
I
views?
think, well, that's, first of all, it's very nice of you to say that there are we have some other fantastic leaders nationwide, of
Absolutely.
course. We've got great folks locally, Rabbi Barbara Penzner, Rabbi Toba Spitzer, Cantor Vera Bruckhauser. By the way, a lot of women, you notice, right? The men
Yes.
sometimes, I got to represent our gender, because we're not always as dedicated to the cause as women are,
Right.
and the non-binary folks and so forth. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't want to leave them out either. To me, first of all, it's a history. We had a confirmation class, our 10th graders, which um, uh, something invented in the 19th century. To confirmation, the Jewish confirmation is after bar and bat mitzvah. It's in the 10th grade, to
Hmm.
confirm their sense of belief and identity as Jews. Um, they wanted to talk about social justice. They wanted to talk about racial justice, and we found um, so many heroes, so many Jewish social justice heroes. Harvey Milk in San Francisco did so much
Hmm.
for queer rights. Betty Friedan, although not so fantastic in the gay realm, obviously a great feminist leader. Um,
Hmm.
we had trying to remember who else they picked. Um, Folks who helped start the NAACP. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Here in
oh, I'm
Boston.
blank.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name, but these kids did this research. Friends of W.E.B. Du Bois, and walking together into segregated restaurants. A white Jewish guy and a black guy. Jews don't always know this history.
Yeah.
Clara Lemlich, an amazing teenage Jewish garment worker. Like I told you, my great aunt and my grandmothers, I still have their union cards, right?
Hmm.
Who put their lives on the line to create clothing for America, and to stand for their own rights. Yeah, this is part of the Jewish. It's one of the reasons the Nazis and the white supremacists hate us, is because they what when they say Jews will not replace us, they don't mean Jews are going to replace us with themselves. They mean Jews are
Hmm.
going to replace us with non-white European Nordic Christian people, right?
Hmm.
And it's because Jews have believed in this idea that there is a divinity and a sacredness in each human being,
Hmm.
um, and to me, it's the most Jewish thing that you could do, is to
Hmm.
stand for justice. Again, this Exodus story is so powerful. Um,
Hmm.
there's other texts though. Um, texts that say "Patoach tiftach et yadecha," in Hebrew, openly open your hand to the poor. Get rid of the idea, the idolatrous, fraudulent idea that there are social classes and economic inequality is the way things have to be. That's a fraudulent, idolatrous idea. We're taught that you can't oppress your workers. In Leviticus and Deuteronomy, it says that you pay your workers on time and you pay them a fair wage. And otherwise, they're going to cry out to God, and the sin will not be on them that there's some sort of pathology of the poor family or the poor home. The sin, the text says, is on you, because you could have paid a fair wage. You could have paid a living wage, and you didn't. That's on us if we have more, if we're the employer, if we're the folks who are setting economic policy. It's the first thing. I talked about this on the High Holidays, and then I'll let you talk again. When Abraham's the first Hebrew guy, right? We call it the Abrahamic religions, right? When God is thinking about, there's a whole problem with Sodom and Gomorrah. You may have heard things didn't work out so well for them. Abraham's going to argue that God shouldn't destroy the cities if there are innocent people there, because it's unfair. Mm-hmm. And God has a soliloquy, which I think is the only soliloquy in the Bible. I could be wrong. If you're a pastor or a priest or a rabbi out there or an imam, let me know and correct me. But God says, should I tell Abraham what I'm going to do? This whole destroy these two cities thing? Because he and his children after him are supposed to keep what we call derech Adonai, the path of God. Path of God. What's the path of God? Lasot tzedakah mishpat, to do justice and righteousness. That's the path of God. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now we got prayer. I got a tallis. I can put on some tefillin. I love it. I keep kosher. I love the Sabbath. I love the holidays. I love matzah on Passover. I love all the rituals. But the path of God, Genesis. You want to look it up? Genesis 18. Go have a ball. The path of God is lasot tzedakah mishpat, to do justice and righteousness. So what else am I supposed to do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I got a mission statement right there. Why am I at a rally? Why am I writing a letter? Why am I talking to my congressman and my senator, my local senator? That's the path of God. Mm-hmm. What, I'm supposed to hide? Now, if you're a Jew and you're afraid that the Jew haters are going to come get you, I don't blame you for hiding, right? Mm-hmm. But yet, from a people that is hounded and harassed and tortured, we still have this. We have the Clara Lemlichs and the Harvey Milks and the Roche Schneidermans and the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs, if you like her. Not everybody likes her, right? You got these people who are still out there and saying, "Yeah, I got to do this," because it's in, we say, in our kishkas, in our guts. It's not even our head and our heart. It's just literally inside of us, part of it. Okay, stop talking. I'm sorry, I talked too much.
I was going to say one of my favorites, Bernie Sanders. So
Bernie.
Yep.
Although I want to do Torah study with Bernie, because so much of what he's got is Torah. I don't think he realizes it.
So how do you, what do you? I'm always talking to religious leaders about a lot of things. A crisis happens, an act of hate, or someone's in need. But how do you see your role as a religious leader about impacting, policy or society or the communities where your congregants live or work? How do you do that? How do you see that?
How do I see my role? Did you say?
Yeah, as a religious leader, what is the role to influence and create this change?
Yeah. So, look, we've talked about the Jew haters and the Nazis and the real, the real racists, the people who really have hate in their heart. They're out there. We've got, some of us have that in us, and we have to struggle with it. But I think they're the minority. I do. Mm-hmm. I think the real Jew haters and the real homophobes and the, let's kill all the immigrants. And, I think, that might be my white privilege talking, but I think they're the minority. But the problem is, so Americans, and this American Jews too, we have a conception of ourselves as blessed. This is a blessed land, Mm-hmm. some of the actual Christian Europeans who started it, this is the New Jerusalem, right? And they took our Bible and sprinkled our place names all over like Salem, Massachusetts, and Salem. Okay, Shalom. All right, good. There's biblical place names all over the place, right? But if you have a conception of yourself as blessed, it's easy to say that I'm also favored or I'm better. And then being told that you have work to do, if you tell me I have work to do, I don't like that. I'm reactive. I'm not racist. This is a nice town. My family's nice, and this is a good state, and we're a blue state, and this is a nice country, right? But we have to say, and part of the role of the clergy is to push people and say, I respect your feelings. I have compassion for your feelings, but this is not about your feelings right now. This is about our community. This is about our community. We won World War II and beat fascism, but we did it with segregated schools. Are we still on? You're a little frozen. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Yeah, be okay?
Yeah, you were a little frozen. Can you hear me all right?
I can, yep.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, we beat fascism in World War II, but we did it with segregated schools, right? So that's what does that say? It means to me we're blessed to live in the United States. I like it here. But my texts, my religious text, other religious texts from other faiths say blessings are conditional. And a community built on injustice is not divine. Ooh. Did we lose? We lose Jamie? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't know. Is there someone from Senator Eldridge's staff who should... Do I stop talking? Do I wait?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Sounds like...
Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. So just keep rambling. Rabbis are good at that. Blessings are conditional is what I was saying. We're blessed to live in this community, but blessings have to be matched with obligation. And in a community that's built on injustice or that is permeated with injustice, if we don't fulfill our obligation to address that, we lose our divinity. Some would call that sin, right? We don't like that word, sin. But it's a call for all of us to do better, right? This is what religion is good at. Religion is good at helping people look at themselves and potentially do better. Yeah? So that's where we come in. Now, we could flatter our people, right? I love my people. They're lovable. They built something really beautiful here, right? We love them. We think they're good people. We want them to feel good, but there's a point where love like that slips into there's a country where you can buy anything you want, right? We're used to getting what we, and we get mad if we can't get what we want, right? So, but we have to love people enough to say, I believe in you. You can be better. You can do better. We can do better. I have this in me too. I have, white supremacy in me too. I have my own anti-Semitism I've got to deal with, right?
Yeah.
We have to say, let's tell the truth. We own our own complicity in this injustice. Racism is a 400-year problem. It's going to take a real commitment, but we believe in the power of transformation from our religious texts. We can do this, right? I mean, this is a tough place, right? I mean, I moved here. Like, look at these people. Look, they're shoveling snow. They're like tough. They're in Yiddish, they're starkers. They're tough people, right? If you can deal with 18 inches of snow every week, you can deal with some of your own internal racism and inequality in housing and in education and in banking and employment. We can do it. Let's do it. God gave us the power to partner with God to make the world more fair. We can do this.
And Rabbi Mike, you've been Rabbi at Beth Elohim for 4 years. Is that correct?
Yes. July of 2017, I
Mhm.
started. So yeah, I'm in year 5. Oh, yeah.
And so how are things going in Acton and Boxborough? How do you see things? Are you seeing progress at all, whether at the elected level in the community? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing some progress, right? I think people are starting to again to have the conversations that they weren't having
Hmm.
when I've only been here a few years, but I've seen a change, right? People are talking about racism, about we've got a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee in Acton,
Hmm.
and in Boxborough. Uh,
Yep.
we've got a, we've got a superintendent of schools, Peter Light, who did something really I thought extraordinary, which was to call together after the arrest of a black mom who was trying to
Hmm.
get to her kid, and really, I think everybody agreed was a regrettable, uh, shameful course of action, which is that she was arrested in a school and her kid was 8 years old, was left alone. I know there's some legal machinations. I don't want to get into that, but we
Hmm.
all acknowledge that was not the way to go. And Peter called a meeting right afterwards, and people
Yep.
talked. People
Yeah.
talked about their experience of being people of color in these communities, how they were treated, how they've been treated, suspicious looks, phone calls, what's going on at the neighbor's house, if there's uh, if there's officers at the school and the
Mhm.
officers are giving extra attention to the black kids, not in a good way. Yeah. um, I certainly have seen a good number of anti-Semitic acts. People find me and they tell me about them because I'm public, I
Mhm.
guess.
Sure.
About the money being thrown, about the swastika. We know we had the giant, yellow star and word Yuda over on the ball field at the high school. Um, Number one, I had to. It was a very nice officer who was assigned to the case. I had to explain to him what a yellow star and Yuda meant.
Hmm.
Um, so we have some education to do, right? Um, People need to know. I got a harassing voicemail right around the high holidays,
Hmm.
um, asking me. It was a clearly meant to be cruel. Are all, why are there so many Jewish homosexuals, and are
Hmm.
the Rothschilds creating
Hmm.
homosexuality? And again, the Rothschilds is code for Jew, right? It's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, that they had the space
Hmm.
lasers, the Rothschilds, right?
Yep.
Right. So these are the lunatics, seem crazy, but they have positions of power, right? Again, when we talked to the police, who were very attentive, we had to explain Rothschild was code for Jew. Um,
Hmm.
we need education, and we need people to tell the truth, and we need people to actually step up and acknowledge it. We're still having a problem, unfortunately,
Hmm.
in Acton and Boxborough. I know more about Acton because I live here. That we don't want to say, "Oh, this is really us." These issues, if they come out in the school, they reflect the town. They might reflect
Right.
families. Um, we still don't have a way, as far as I know, for a student or a staff faculty member. I've had staff and faculty from the school contact me too to
Hmm.
report an incident of bias and do it anonymously and have somebody walk through them, an ally, an officially assigned ally from either the town or the district, somebody who will walk with them, right? Their advocate. We need that. We need to make sure that our staff, that our people here are trained to understand what anti-Semitism and racism look like. We need to
Hmm.
tell the truth about what does it mean when somebody feels like they haven't been given a job, or they haven't been given a loan, or they haven't been
Sure.
allowed to rent an apartment because of who they are. We have to investigate that. You could say every one of those people is lying or they're
Hmm.
making it up. But boy, in this country, do we really believe that? Do we really believe
Exactly.
that they're all making it up? Boy, that would be a stretch. Um, so invest the time. We're going to hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. I want to say
Yeah.
that. That's really exciting. And I was at the
Yep. The
town
Acton
meeting.
town meeting, it got approved. Yep.
That was approved, and it was approved overwhelmingly, and that is to the credit of the folks in Acton. Yeah, but okay, we got to let that person do their job. Hiring decisions, advancement, promotion.
Yeah.
Look, I answer to a board. I know I have to make sure I have, I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's. If I want to get promoted in Acton, if I want to
Sure.
get a raise in Acton, there's lots of performance metrics and benchmarks. One of them needs to be, how did I handle bias incidents? How did I address internal
Sure.
processes around racism, around bias? And if I didn't do a good job of that, maybe I don't
Hmm.
get promoted. Maybe I don't get the raise. Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
That's something we can easily do, right? Design those in. Boy, people will make a big change and they'll make a big effort if they know their promotion or their raise is on the line. They have to
They're
work on
really
that,
valued. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, I'm not an expert on these issues. There's people, they're DEI
Yeah.
experts, but these to me, these are basic. These are basic,
Yeah.
right? And education
But as,
and
but as a
learning.
religious leader, you're influencing that. You're pushing, you're
Oh God,
advocating.
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like. I feel like sometimes you can be a collaborator and sometimes you can be an irritant. I know for a lot of people, I'll be honest, I don't know whoever's watching, I know for a lot of people in this town, I'm an irritant. I'm annoying. There's that guy talking about, racism and anti-Semitism again. Um, I I believe in this town. I believe there's good, decent people. My neighbors are wonderful. They want to lend me a snowblower. They want to, help me out. People smile and wave. Um, we got good people here. If we say, it's safe to tell the truth, we're going to deal with what we've got to deal with. I am ready to be a partner. I am ready to be a partner with the select board. I'm ready to be a partner with the town manager, town administrator, the
Sure.
librarian, the police chief, the school, the board of health, the fire. We had the fire police. The fire chief was here talking about fire safety because we got Hanukkah candles and Shabbos candles. Right? Right? I'm partner with anybody. Do I want to cause trouble? I don't. I want to help. I want to help people be better and grow, and myself as well, right? And I'll learn something from you if we can have that
Yeah.
conversation. But some people are terrified of that, and they are more concerned. And then people, it's interesting. People who have said to me they're interested. Something happens, Jamie. Senator. I should call you. We're
No,
friendly.
no, Jamie,
It
please.
seems sometimes people get elected to something or they get appointed to something, and suddenly they get nervous, and then they suddenly won't want to talk
Right.
to me anymore. And I'm
Right.
like, wow, what's going on here? What is the culture of fear and silence around dealing with these issues? Are we?
Hmm.
What are we for? A lawsuit? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Is
And,
it?
and and to your point about that forum that Superintendent Light had after
Wow.
after that arrest, I mean, the need to have more public forums to hear from more people that are impacted, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and organizing those things, which I'd be the first to say I need to do more of that. But what's
You
happening
promised
at
we were having an
the
anti-Semitism forum.
yeah,
You
yep.
did.
We're still working on it. You hold me accountable. Yep.
Yeah. We should. And we also should do one around race and around
Yes.
ethnicity, other kinds of ethnicity. Look, I mean, the DEI. Thank God, the DEI and Acton has put out. They did a survey.
Mhm.
I wish they had come to interview me a little bit, and maybe the Chabad rabbi, maybe our people here. But okay, they put out a survey. What did the survey say? The survey said 13% of the respondents said they experienced anti-Semitism for themselves or someone they know.
Mhm.
19% said they experienced racism. These aren't good numbers,
Yeah.
Senator. These are
Yeah.
bad numbers.
Yeah.
It, by the way, scans with Middlesex County. I have some. You know,
Some
bias
data.
types. Bias types by county. Middlesex County's 37. I don't remember what year this is. 37 anti-black incidents, 37 anti-Jewish incidents. By the way, nothing else is in double digits. There are anti-gay and anti-Hispanic, and
Mhm.
it goes down the line.
Yeah.
But 37 apiece. I don't know what year this is. Like I said, I could forward this to you. It's public. I got it off the mass.gov website. Um,
Yeah. And I will say, just to, because I just think it's so important for everyone to, talk about what they see when they do see racism. And, I will say a different part of my district in the Marlboro
mhm.
Sudbury area, but, a Black family where the father went to look for a house, looking to buy a new
Yep.
house.
Yep.
And the neighbor seeing him, walk around the neighborhood, and white person, got into his car and followed this, Black father all the way back to, where he lived.
Oh my
Just
God.
that
Oh,
was really chilling. And then figuring out how to address that. Where do you file that complaint?
that's right.
Since it was town to town. So it,
Look,
it,
we
it
have a mutual acquaintance. I don't know if she put it on Facebook. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, she was at the CVS over there. She was followed around
Yep.
by a black woman, followed around by an employee of the CVS. Right? I mean,
Mhm.
come on. And is that illegal? It should be illegal, right? There should be some sort of penalty for that,
Mhm.
or some sort of, I don't. Is it penalty for the store, the corporation? If you want to do business in Acton, you can't have that as a policy that you follow black people around the store. How about that? How about that as a rule? Yeah.
Mhm.
Why? Well, oh my God! Freedom of enterprise. Free enterprise, but only for white people. And
Right.
if we believe in the American dream and entrepreneurship, but black folks and brown folks aren't going to have the full benefit of that entrepreneurship because they
Mhm.
might not be able to get a loan, they might not be able to rent a storefront, they might not be able to even buy equipment for their business because they're going to be treated as a suspect by whoever they're dealing with on a business level. These are the
Yeah.
values we say that we believe in. So what are we doing about it?
Yeah. And I would ask, what should allies be doing in those situations, in calling out that behavior.
Well, I
Critical.
think in that particular instance, I think you know we we all have some. Privilege is a buzzword, right? So, how am I privileged? I worked so hard, right?
Hmm.
We all have unearned benefits in our lives. You don't like the word privilege, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I know I'm treated a certain way because I'm a man. If I'm in a meeting or if I'm in a right, if I'm in some sort of social interaction, um, everybody's got something that they have been given a leg up in some way that we didn't earn, right? You know, I didn't do anything in the womb to earn my social advantage as a man. I didn't do anything in the womb to earn my birth into a middle class family, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so this is what you've been handed.
Hmm.
How do you spend it, right? You've got currency. You've got the
Yep.
ability to do something, so you can say something to the guy following the woman around. If you're a white person, say, "Excuse
Hmm.
me,
Yep.
is she bothering you?" Or say to the woman, "Do you need
Right.
help? Is he bothering you?" Right? Like
Hmm.
more that might be the better case. I mean, there's we've done some upstander training here at the synagogue.
Hmm.
Um, uh, but you can ask questions of businesses that you use. Um,
Hmm.
what's your anti bias policy? Are your employees trained in that? If you can look for black businesses.
Hmm.
We're big fans of the Acton Coffee House
Yep.
because Bill is in
Yeah.
Boxborough is
Bill.
African
Yep.
American guy and incredibly wonderful, and we love the place. It helps that they have great coffee. Our
Hmm.
administrator here, Shoshana, is now looking. By the way, an AB graduate, is
Hmm.
looking into women-owned and minority-owned vendors for us.
It's great.
Yeah.
And I think hiring, I mean, I'm always looking to see,
Mhm.
especially quite honestly, government agencies and town hall and nonprofits is, how are you? It's not just enough to say we're a welcoming place, but how are you actually
Right.
engaging in a strategy to hire
Right.
a diverse workforce.
It's not up to you. This is always the funny part, right? If you're the white person, if you're the man, if you're the straight person, if you're the Christian, say, oh, well, we're so welcoming of everybody. Hey, guess what? It's not up to you, right? Go ask the people who you think you're welcoming, right?
Yep.
Do you think that you're a celebratory space of black people? Go ask the black people. Do you think that your town celebrates everybody? The Jews are just as welcome, and the Muslims are just. Go ask the Jews and the Muslims. You don't get to decide, right?
Right.
Am I doing enough anti-sexism work? I talk to the women that I work with. That's
Sure.
just be saying it. That's right. But also besides those individual moments of upstanding and purchasing decisions, we're really counting on you, buddy. It's
Yep.
at the legislative level where we're
Yes.
going to make the
State
biggest
and federal.
changes.
Yep.
And one of the most frustrating things about the some of the right wing reactionary pushback we've had is that it undermines faith in government in general, right? That,
Part of the strategy. Yep.
that's part of the strategy to say, oh, they're all crooks and nobody cares, and they're all out for themselves. Oh, the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans, right? So it says, oh, well, there's nothing you can do, and and despair, give up. The government won't help anything. Legislation won't help anything, and everybody for themselves, right? Well, we have a belief in kahila in Judaism, community, right? Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh. Everybody's responsible for one another. We believe in the power of the collective. You don't get to where you need to be by yourself. It wasn't one guy walking through the Red Sea. It was the Israelites walking through the Red Sea. We stand together and march, and we're counting on our elected officials, elected by the people, so maybe we have to lead you around and say, we're going to get you there, but we got to get you there, right? That's
absolutely. And I'll give one example that, in some ways doesn't sound very exciting, but it sort of highlights not only the privilege, but how we could address, some of these inequalities is that, the legislature right now is deciding how to spend, approximately $5 billion in American Rescue Plan Act money.
Yeah.
And, talking
free money. Nice.
But, if you look at the state contracts, it's overwhelmingly, white-owned businesses. And here's an opportunity to invest in, communities of color or minority or women-owned, businesses, or where does that money go? And yet, if we don't set up, that sort of, model, then we know who it's going to go to, in disproportionate numbers,
Right. This is one of those, and people don't know about this. We were talking about this. Yeah, this is one of those rare moments. Like, oh, we can't do affordable housing because it costs too much, and we can't do daycare, and we can't do living wage. It costs too much, right? Of course, we keep giving the Pentagon more than they ask for, right? By the way, in a Democratic Senate and a Democratic, seriously, in the United States, right? We're giving the Pentagon more than they want, so they can,
right.
build more, whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but here's a case where this is not a budgetary problem, at least in the Commonwealth, right? You got free money.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
You say, oh, well, we still can't do it. What? Okay. You've got unhoused people. You've got people living in substandard apartments. You've got people who have untreated addictions, right? We know that this is a nationwide problem. You got, again, underfunded schools. You've got underfunded
underpaid workers, essential workers, healthcare workers.
Right.
Yep. Daycare.
Right. You tell me, okay, what's the excuse now? What's the excuse now? What was the number? How much money do we got?
$5 billion.
$5 billion.
Yep.
With a B, as they say. Yeah. Yeah. I think that could house a few people. I think that could get some people into drug treatment. I think that could get, an antiquated school to have, some better programming. Right. And I think we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can maybe give some childcare and some health care to people who are suffering.
Yeah. So that's where, to hold legislators accountable, all of the sort of racial justice and social justice groups is making sure that they are also holding elected officials accountable at this moment where, we're going to be deciding how to spend those funds. So um, I am curious because we just, we're almost at the end of September, two major Jewish holidays. What were some of your
Two,
what were some of
two.
your sermons?
We
Well, more than
we
two, three at least, right?
listen. After Yom Kippur, it's like, oh, aren't you glad that's over? Like, wait a minute, we had Sukkot, we had 7 days of Sukkot, then
That's
we
right.
have Shemini Atzeret. You don't get a lot of Shemini Atzeret fans out there. But Simchat Torah, we were dancing around with the Torah. Yeah, we just finished just a couple of days ago. So
What, if I could ask, what were some of your sermons to your congregants? What is the message?
yeah. So we have a focus on Jewish values. It's something that I brought something that was a goal of mine when I interviewed here in 2017. That every moment is an opportunity to make what I call a Jewish decision. Every moment is an opportunity to make a principled, values-based decision. It doesn't mean that we're all going to always agree, right? Or that we even know where we're going to land. But we have Jewish values, like we've talked about some of them. B'Tselem Elohim. Everybody's created in God's image. Kol Yisrael Arvim Zeh B'Zeh. All Jews or all people are responsible for one another. We have Ahavat Habriot, loving all creation, all human beings. Ahavat Hager, loving the immigrant. That's a Jewish value. Tzedek, justice, is a Jewish value. Gemilut Chasadim, acts of loving kindness. We have to pursue that as well. Shmirat Ha'adamah, guarding the earth. We have the largest solar installation of any house of worship in Massachusetts, where you were here at our dedication. So we talked a lot about that. One of the things I talked about, because of COVID, we couldn't have nice bar mitzvah services and bat mitzvah services here in the synagogue. So what were we going to do? A lot of synagogues did it on Zoom. The families in their house. I'm in my house. The cantor, who's our clergy for music, is in her house, right? But it just didn't feel the same. So we made the very complicated decision, Senator, to do it in people's backyards. So we took our Torah scroll, which is it's a handwritten 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It's handwritten by a scribe. It takes a year. It's on kosher animal skin. So we schlepped that all around. We went to Acton, Boxborough, Bolton, Groton. I forget, right? But I said this is a beautiful metaphor, right? So Torah values, whatever your biblical values, your religious values, they shouldn't just live in the synagogue. They shouldn't just live in the church or the mosque or the temple. They should go to your backyard. And so those values-based, what am I going to do? I'm online, so you take a little thing, I'm online at the Starbucks, or I'm online at the Acton coffee house, I should say. And the person behind the counter is taking too long. Am I going to yell at them, or am I going to have a little compassion? Right? To me, that's a religious choice. It's a Jewish choice, right? But then you get to things like, I have this amount of money to spend. Should I ask how the workers are treated in the place I want to buy? Am I going to go to a unionized shop, right? Am I going to spend my money there because honoring workers is actually a religious value, and paying work? We talked about this before. When I go into a voting booth, how do I take my? Now people say religious values, like, oh my God, like anti-abortion, anti-gay marriage, right?
Yeah.
Newsflash: gay marriage and abortion are not the real highlights of the Bible.
Right.
The highlight, again, that God believes that slaves should be free, that everybody is created in God's image, that we create a holy society when we create a just society, right? Those are the kind of religion that, again, pay your workers on time, don't close your hand to the poor, love the immigrant, call out for peace before you make war, right? So how do you take that? And again, they're sometimes competing, right? They're competing values. We talked about that. We talked about everybody being responsible for each other. And I talked a lot about the reason the whole story about Abraham was on my mind, because I talked about our main religious task being to make justice.
Sure.
And I also talked about the fun sermon. I have to put a fun sermon every year. Was about the Torah of baking challah. Over quarantine, I became a challah baker, and I learned
Okay.
a lot.
Yep.
And so those I had messages. I'll get again. I'll stop. One message is like you have to mix it up, right, and then you have to let it rise, which means you leave it alone. And we're so bad at leaving things alone sometimes, right? We want to keep messing, right? But one of the messages of bread
Very
is
deep.
leave it alone. Let it. Sometimes it'll just grow on it. Yeah. I want to mess with it. No, leave it.
I'm sure it was delicious.
My challah is pretty good, Senator
Yeah.
Jamie Eldridge. I might bring you one. It's not amazing. I mean, actually, it's pretty good. My husband says it's good, so that's really he's the most important customer.
Well, the next time we meet at Acton Coffee House, you'll have to bring it. So
I'll think about it. I'll think about
yeah.
it.
Well, Rabbi Mike, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on to Uplifting Voices. I just, really appreciate our partnership on so many issues and our friendship, and just, bringing those values to the community, and to the congregation. And just, we're really lucky to have you. So it's an honor to have you on Uplifting Voices. Thanks for
Well, I'll
joining.
tell you, when I tell people that my senator, I meet with people, talk about work, legislation, lobbying, and then I tell people my senator is Jamie Eldridge. Like, wow, you got a great, you Tammy Govea, Jamie Eldridge. Wow, you guys are lucky, and I think we're blessed more than just lucky. So thanks for being a blessing out in the world.
Thank you so much. Well, thanks again. And thanks to everyone who tuned into Uplifting Voices. And we do this on a monthly basis. So once again, thank you to Rabbi Mike Rothbaum of Congregation Beth Elohim, and have a great night. Take care.